Okay, hi everyone. So today's video, I'm going to be redoing my vinyl collection. I don't know if anyone remember this, but I made this video 2 years ago and I thought I would remake it. I honestly haven't gotten many new things since then, but I'm not the biggest fan of that video. So I'm gonna go ahead and redo it and probably private the old one. But with that said, I am going to be showing my entire vinyl record collection. I've been collecting since maybe 2013. 2014. I don't know, I was kind of young when I started collecting vinyl, but I mainly just collect albums that I really like, or I do make a point to like keep up with the discography of all my favorite bands. So yes, with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you the album. I will probably do some b-roll to show you like the actual record itself, because a lot of the ones I have are colored. First one we have is Crown the Empire's Limitless. I am going to talk about like my favorite songs and stuff. So my favorite song on this one is Johnny Ringo, like no doubt about it. I love that song so much. But also I really love this whole album. I love old Crown the Empire so much. I love all Crown the Empire so much, but. And then next is Crown the Empire's The Fallout. This album, ooh, my favorite song is definitely Two's Too Many. Like, it's genuinely like one of my favorite songs of all time. This is like top tier, like definitely one of my favorite albums of all time. It was definitely a staple during my peak emo days. So yeah, this one is very special to me. Yeah, I think this album is so good. I love it always. And then next is also Crown the Empire. This is their second album, The Resistance: Rise of the Runaways. This one, my favorite song is probably Second Thoughts. I've actually been listening to this album a bit more recently, and I just really love this album. Initiation was like the first single on this album. It is so good. I love that song. I don't know, I love this whole album. Monster is really good too, but yeah, there's that one. And then next we have their third album, Retrograde. Yeah, here's my first copy of this. I actually have 2 copies, so yeah, but my favorite song on this one is definitely Aftermath. I have no clue which version is which. I think there's an orange one and then also another one that I don't remember. That's my bad. I don't know. But I actually got one for free. So I don't know, it's fun. And then I also have 2 copies of their Sudden Sky album. So I know one I pre-ordered, well, I think I pre-ordered them both, but one is, I don't remember the pressings of these, I'm sorry, but I know one is like clear with splatter on it, because I know I got that one from Rock Sound, which is a magazine, I think, but it was an exclusive to that website, so I just bought it. Yeah, let's see, what's my favorite song on this album? I think my favorite song on this album is Red Pills, I think, but I really love this whole album a lot, so yeah. And then last for Crown the Empire is their acoustic album. They put this out for like their 10-year anniversary or whatever. It was a record store day release. So obviously these are all songs that they've put out before, but they finally acknowledged that Second Thoughts is like a song that exists, which was great. I really love the acoustic version of that, and also Aftermath. I was really happy that they made acoustic versions for a lot of like just really good songs, and the bonus track Everything Breaks is really good as well. And then next we're going to be getting into my Gavin Dance discography. So I do have their entire discography all the way up to 2022. So to start off, we have Whatever I Say is Royal Ocean. This is their first EP. My favorite song on this is, I don't know, it's really hard to choose because I really like The Importance of Cocaine, and also I just really love Raining Down the Nicotine Armoire. So it's really hard to say which is my favorite, but I do love both a whole lot. But yeah, I think this is white pressing. I think white is probably my least favorite color to have on vinyl. I don't know what it is about it, it's just not my favorite thing, but I think this is one of the few white vinyl that I have. So next we have Downtown Battle Mountain, and this, okay, so I've been collecting Gavin Dance vinyl ever since, you know, like I said, 2013 or like 2014. I got into Gavin Dance when I was 14, which is my freshman year of high school, which I started in 2013, which is also the year that Acceptance Speech came out, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I've kind of been collecting their vinyl ever since I got into them. So this is like one of the really old pressings, I believe. I don't know, I know Gavin Dance has a really big vinyl collecting community, so if anyone is familiar, this one was pressed in 2013 like it says, but I believe this was like one of the first pressings, if not the first pressing, after they did the box set of all of their albums. I could be very wrong, but I'm not sure. Anyways, my favorite song on this album is Open Your Eyes and Look North. I really love this whole album though. Lemon Meringue Tie is really great. And then we have their self-titled album. I'll be honest, like Kurt Travis era of Gavin Dance is probably my least favorite era. If you're unaware, they've had 3 different vocalists up until this point, and Kurt Travis was the second vocalist. His first album was this one. I do really like some of the songs on this album though, so People You Know is awesome as well. I would probably say that People You Know is my favorite song on this album. But yeah, I think of the 2 Kurt albums, I definitely prefer this one. So next we have Happiness, and I will say I honestly don't really listen to this album very much. I would have to say this is my least favorite Dance Gavin Dance album. I do think I need to take some more time to really listen to it. This is on green vinyl. I'm pretty sure it's like a really ugly green color. It's fine though. I'm really happy to like have this though to like complete the collection, I guess. And then we have Downtown Battle Mountain 2. Okay, I really love this album. It's really hard to choose a favorite. I don't know, Blue Dream I really like. I know they're playing Blue Dream on the tour that they're on right now, which is super, I don't want to say annoying, but it's annoying because I'm not going to that tour. I'd really love to see that live, but it's okay. But also, I don't know, this whole album is so good. I really love Spooks and Pounce Bounce. Every single song on this is just so good. I don't know. So next we have Acceptance Speech. So I did already mention that this is kind of the time that I got into Dance Gavin Dance. I would say that Dance Gavin Dance is one of my favorite bands, like without question, and I feel like they have been ever since I got into them. Like, yeah, I love this album so much. I don't really know what song I would say is my favorite. I would maybe say Doom and Gloom, maybe Acceptance Speech. I don't know, it's really hard to choose, but this album is like one of those life-changing albums for me, like seriously. And then next we have Instant Gratification. Yeah, I love this album too. I would say this is, I don't know, it's really hard to rank. I've said it's my favorite for a really long time, but yeah, it's really hard to choose a favorite song on this one, but I would say most recently I've been listening to The Cuddler the most, but I really love Something New, and I don't know, they're all so good. Like, front to back, this album is so good and I love it so much. I just remember listening to this so often during like my sophomore year of high school. So next we have Tree City Sessions. So this is a live album. It is the first one. Yeah, first of all, I think this cover is super cool. Love it. But here is the track list for that. I don't know, I won't really say I have a favorite just because I mean none of this is new songs. So, and then next we have Mothership. I love this album. What is my favorite song on Mothership? Recently I've been listening to Man of the Year a lot. I think Man of the Year is the only Dance Gavin Dance that can like legitimately make me cry. It's just really good. And I don't know, this is another one of their like god tier albums. It is like so good, and I also really love Chocolate Jackalope. I love that song so much. And then next we have Artificial Selection. I don't know, I feel like I have not listened to this album enough. I wasn't really listening to Dance Gavin Dance a lot when this album came out, so I don't know, I just haven't really listened to it a lot over the years. But I will say, like this, like the singles from this album and stuff are really good. I really like Care, and Suspended in This Disaster is really good. I also really love Son of Robot and Evaporate. Yeah, so I do like this album. I just feel like I haven't listened to it enough. And then next we have Afterburner. Yes, this is another really great album from them. So recently I've been listening to this album quite a bit in anticipation for their most recent album that just came out. I honestly can't tell you a favorite song, but I really love Three Wishes. One in a Million is really good. Strawberries Wake, Parody Catharsis. And then next we have Tree City Sessions. This is the second one. I don't really know what's up with this variant. I know they did a whole bunch of different variants for this release, so I honestly have to look into it. Obviously you'll see, I'll kind of like show it to you, but yeah, I just know that, I don't know, a lot is up with that. But yeah, there's the track list on that. Again, not really gonna say I have a favorite because I do love all these songs. And then we have actually the most recent album that I have gotten. It is Jackpot Juicer, which again, like I said, just came out like 2 weeks ago as of filming this. You probably won't see this video for a while, but this album still is very new. Thoughts on this album? I love it so much. Probably my favorite album of theirs since Mothership, but it's so good. And this album has 18 songs on it. Can we see the track list there? There's 18 songs on this album, which is insane. So since this album is so new, I have actually been listening to it a lot, like a ton, but it's really hard to say what my favorites are right now. I will say I really love Synergy. The first single off the album is really good, and I really love Holy Ghost Spirit. Ember is probably like really high up there. But yeah, that was the entirety of my Dance Gavin Dance collection. I'm very proud of how well I've been able to keep up with their discography over the years. So I did mention that I used to be a fan of Johnny Craig. So with that comes Emarosa. So this is Emarosa's Relativity. This is actually a 10-year special edition vinyl. Yeah, it actually says it right there. And this cover is really ugly, like definitely super ugly, but it actually just has the normal cover on the inside, so I'm okay with that. But this is something I just wanted for the collection's sake. And then next we have Emarosa. This is their Relativity and self-titled albums together in one. For Relativity, I really love I Still Feel Her Part 1 and A City Called Coma Part 2. I think those are my favorite songs off the album. And also their self-titled is probably, I don't know, I said for a long time that it was probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I still think it's really, really good, but I don't know. If I had to choose a favorite, it'd probably be A Toast to the Future Kids, but I also really love Live It, Love It, Lust It. And then next we have their album Verses, and I honestly, I don't know, this album is not like my favorite thing of all time, but I do really like Gold Dust on this album. And then we have Isles and Glaciers. So this is their album The Hearts of Lonely People, the remixes. This is their only album, but yeah, they kind of did like a re-release of the remixes in probably like 2014, and so I wanted to make sure I was able to get this album. There's not a track list on here, but I will say my favorite song on this album is Cemetery Weather. Love that song so much, but I really do love this whole EP. It's really good. And then next we have Johnny Craig's solo album, A Dream Is a Question You Don't Know How to Answer. I'll kind of be quick with this, but my favorite songs on this album are 7 AM, 2 Bottles on the Wrong Road, and The Garbage Pail Kid Gangbang. And then next we have his second solo album, Find What You Love and Let It Kill You. This one I know is a super pretty variant. It's probably one of the favorite ones that I have, but I don't know what my favorite song on this would be. Probably, I honestly don't even know. I've not listened to this in forever, but I remember I used to really love I Still Feel Her Part 5. And I used to really love all these songs, but I haven't listened to this in so long. And then the next one is Slaves, Through Art We Are All Equal. So this is Johnny Craig's band that he formed after he left Emarosa. But yeah, Slaves, they now go by the name Rain City Drive, and also Johnny Craig's not in that band. I really like The Young and Beyond Reckless, and I also really like There Is Only One God and His Name Is Death, and The Upgrade Part 2. Starving for Friends was really good too. So this is another album I haven't listened to in a really long time, but I do remember my thoughts on this album. Like, I did really like it. Okay, so next we're moving on to Bring Me the Horizon. This is their Suicide Season album, one of my favorite albums ever. This one is a really pretty red pressing. My favorite song on this album is definitely Sleep With One Eye Open. I love this album truly so much. It is so special to me. And then we have their There Is a Hell album. So obviously I think all of Bring Me the Horizon's albums are really good. I really love kind of the album art of this one and like the gatefold. Yeah, my favorite song on this album, Alligator Blood. Blessed with the Curse is really good. I don't know. And then next we have Sempiternal. I know like for a fact I pre-ordered this album, so it's like one of the really old pressings, which is really fun. I believe it's on gold. I think this album is super iconic. I don't know if I could choose a favorite on this album. I really love Can You Feel My Heart for sure, and Sleepwalking. Okay, and then we have That's the Spirit. I just took it out of the sleeve because there was something on the sleeve, but then I take it out of the sleeve and there's something on the album itself. I don't know what that is and it's annoying, but anyways, this one, I really love this album. It's hard for me to say that I don't love any of Bring Me the Horizon's music because I really do love all of it. But Follow You on this is probably my favorite, and Avalanche. Bring Me the Horizon is another one of my all-time favorite bands, so yeah, it's hard to choose. And then we have their album Ammo. Yeah, I really love the packaging for this album. I think it's really fun. But also my favorite on this is probably Mantra. I also really like Wonderful Life. Although I think this is probably my least listened to Bring Me the Horizon album. I still do like it a lot though. And then we have the most, I don't know, is it their most recent? It's the one they put out, I think it was last year in 2021. Oh yeah, it's Post-Human Survival Horror. But I listened to this album endlessly last year. I don't know, I love it so much. I think it's so hard to choose a favorite. I love Kingslayer and Dear Diary and Obey. Okay, now we're kind of moving into bands where I have like smaller amounts of things for. So I have like 2 or 3 or 4 things per band that I mention. So first thing I have is this Issues Black Diamonds EP. So this is their first ever release. While Issues is not a band that really exists anymore, I still listen to them all the time. King of Amarillo, I have been listening to that song so much, and I just know it's going to be on my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year. I've been listening to that along with Woe Is Me way too much this year. Like, considering it's 2022, I've been listening to it way too much. But yeah, I think King of Amarillo is like one of my favorite songs. And then we have Issues. This is their first full-length album, self-titled. And I have to say, like, genuinely, this is one of my favorite albums of all time. Like, I can't even tell you enough how much I love this album. I will get into these phases where I will listen to this album start to finish, like, all the time. This album is so special to me in so many different ways. And I just think musically, it is just so good. I feel like Issues were so, I don't know, ahead of their time. I don't know, I miss them so much. Favorite song on this album is way too hard to choose, but I love Personality Cult and I love Mad at Myself. And then we have, this is the last Issues album that I have. It is their Diamond Dreams EP, so this is just acoustic album, and it has some fun songs on there. So next we have some Fall Out Boy albums. I wouldn't say Fall Out Boy is one of my favorite bands, but they do have some, I don't know, they're one of the bands that like have been with me through like most of my life. First album we have is From Under the Cork Tree, without a doubt an iconic album. I love this so much. Favorite song on this album, oh my god, it's so hard to choose. I don't know, I love this album so much. 16 Candles is really good, and I really love I've Got a Dark Alley. And then we have my actual favorite Fall Out Boy album. This is Infinity on High. Yeah, this is without a doubt my favorite Fall Out Boy album. I just love it so much. So this specifically, this was pressed in 2014, and this was a Hot Topic exclusive, and I still feel so lucky to have my hands on this because it is such a pretty pressing and I love it so much. Yeah, I'm really happy to have this one. I don't know, I listened to this album so much, but I think one of my favorite songs is the last song on the album, I've Got All the Ringing in My Ears and None on My Fingers. This is Fall Out Boy's Save Rock and Roll. Last Fall Out Boy album I really enjoy, to be honest, but it's okay. My favorite song on this album is Alone Together, and also Where Did the Party Go? I can't like not mention that one. So next we have Panic at the Disco. So a lot of Panic's old music I love. But yeah, this is A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. This is actually pretty recent purchase. This was, I don't know, it's like some kind of anniversary edition. Fueled by Ramen had some kind of anniversary, I think, and they pressed a bunch of old albums. So I wanted to get my hands on this album because I just haven't been able to find this, and I wanted to make sure I could get this album for my collection. But I really love this album a lot. Again, this is one of those albums that like means a lot to me. I just think it's so good. I used to listen to this one a lot when I was younger. I mean, again, it's really hard to choose a favorite. I literally can't. I love this whole album so much to the point where I can't even choose a favorite song. But yeah, that is A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. And then we have Pretty Odd, which is, I don't know, it's so hard to choose a favorite Panic album, but I think this one would be my favorite. I think I'm gonna declare that now. Pretty Odd is my favorite Panic album. As much as A Fever You Can't Sweat Out is like a part of me, I feel like this is just so good. But I think my favorite song on this album is maybe She Had the World, but I really love the vibe of this album. It is so good. And then this is their Vices and Virtues album. Yeah, love this album too. My favorite song on this album is definitely Nearly Witches. I love that song so much, but I also really love the whole thing. It's really good. And then we have the last Panic album I will ever listen to, and that is Too Weird to Live, Too Weird to Die. I don't know what my favorite would be. Probably The End of All Things on this album is my favorite. So, all right, next we have my Sleeping with Sirens vinyl that I have. So this first one here is Let's Cheers to This. I would say this is probably like one of my top albums ever. Really random, I feel like, but for sure my favorite song on here is Postcards and Polaroids. I just can't get enough of it. But yeah, I love this whole album, like start to finish. It's so good. This is like one of the first few vinyl that I ever got, and also a pretty old pressing. So, and then next I also have If You Were a Movie, This Would Be Your Soundtrack. This, I don't know, this little EP is so good. I think Sleeping with Sirens, they kind of thrive, or at least Kellen Quinn thrives in an acoustic kind of setting. But my favorite song on this is Stomach Tied in Knots, for sure. And then next I have Feel, which isn't my favorite Sleeping with Sirens album, but it is the last one where I was really into Sleeping with Sirens. My favorite song on this is Free Now. I like that song a lot, and yeah, I think this album is okay. It's not the best thing ever, but there is some good songs on here. And next we have my small little Pierce the Veil collection. So I honestly don't really listen to Pierce the Veil much anymore. I've been trying to listen to them more these days, but it can be a little hard. I have their first album, A Flare for the Dramatic. I think this is probably like my least favorite album of theirs, at least out of the ones that I own. I think Yeah Boy and Dollface is probably my favorite song. Next we have Selfish Machines. So my favorite song on this, it's really hard to choose, but I think the new national anthem is probably maybe my favorite, but this album has a lot of like classics on it, so that's fun. Next we have Collide with the Sky. Yeah, I don't know, again, it's kind of hard to choose a favorite on this. It feels like a really long time since I've listened to this album, but I mean, King for a Day has kind of been blowing up recently, which is a little crazy. I don't know, I couldn't tell you what my favorite on this album is, but maybe Bulls in the Bronx? I don't know. Next is one of my favorite albums ever. So this is Icy Stars, their Digital Renegade album. Icy Stars, their discography, is one that I really like to own, like fully in vinyl form. Their first 4 albums are everything to me. I know they only have 5 albums, but the first 4 are like god tier. And this one in particular is so good. I love it to death. I think this is one of my favorite pressings that I own. It matches the album cover really well. Yeah, I love Icy Stars a lot. On this album, I feel like Endless Sky might be one of my favorites. I don't think I could choose a favorite if I really wanted to, but I also really love Phil Friends Unite and Electric Forest. But yeah, this is probably like one of the albums I'm happiest to have in my collection. And then next we have New Demons. So again, this is like one of my favorite albums. It's just so unbelievably good and I love it so much. But yeah, I don't know what my favorite on this would be. I listened to 10,000 Feet a lot and New Demons. I don't know, I have a lot of love for Icy Stars old music. I don't know, there's only one album of theirs that I'm not really a big fan of, but like almost all of their music is so good. But next we have the Amity Affliction, Let the Ocean Take Me. It's really hard to choose a favorite on this album. I think overall Give It All would be my favorite, but also I love Pittsburgh and The Way Down and Never Alone. I love this whole album, so yeah, it's kind of hard to choose a favorite, but and then next we have a little bit of a turn in, I guess, genre, but I have Demi Lovato's Unbroken, and this is one of my favorite albums ever. Like when it comes to pop music, I love this album so much. It is so good, and there's not really much else to say. I got this off of Urban Outfitters. Who's That Boy has been a song I've been listening to a lot lately. I don't know, I really like All Night Long, and like the whole album is really, really good, so yeah. Okay, next we have Selena Gomez. So Selena is one of my like favorite singers. Love her so much. And I feel like her Stars Dance album is probably like one of my favorite albums. I don't know, I have a lot of favorite albums, but I love this album so much. Definitely my favorite of her albums specifically. I think my favorite song on this album would be Stars Dance or maybe Slow Down. And then next I have her Rare album. I think my favorite song on this album would probably be A Sweeter Place. I love that song a lot. But yeah, love this album. Kind of wish I had her Revival album on vinyl, but it's not too big of a deal. I do love Revival, probably more than Rare. But next we have Breathe Carolina. This is their Hello Fascination album, and it's kind of a scene classic. Love it so much. Welcome to Savannah would probably be my favorite song on this album, no questions asked. Yeah, I'm happy to have this one. It's not my favorite Breathe Carolina album. I think my favorite would be Hell Is What You Make It. And I also have Breathe Carolina's Dead the album on vinyl, which is really fun. This is like a really limited pressing. There was only 100 pressed, so it was really fun. I also really love the pressing of this album. I think it is really, really pretty. My favorite on this album would be Too Good or Better. Hard to choose. I like this album a lot. Next we have a fun one. This is Cute Is What We Aim For, a Same Old Blood Rush with a New Touch. Again, kind of a scene classic, a little bit. So this is the album with the cursive curves on it, and I love that song so much. But I also love Moan on this album. Lyrical Lies is good too, but I think Moan would probably be like one of my favorites. And then we have Never Shout Never, Harmony. This is my favorite Never Shout Never album. Like, it's so good. I love it so much. I listen to it quite often, but I would say my favorite on this album might be Sweet Perfection or Lovesick. This is like one of those albums where like I just have the best time listening to it all the way through. So and then we have Man Overboard. So this is their Heart Attack album. This is one that I was really into like around the time that this came out though. I would listen to this all the time, like seriously. 2013, those were like my prime Man Overboard years, like 2013 to maybe 2015. So yeah, I think on this album my favorite song would probably be Wide Awake, but I love White Lies too. It's so good. I love White Lies. I honestly really need to listen to this album again. It's been a while, but yeah. And then I also have their Before We Met album on vinyl. So this is obviously, like it says, just a collection of songs. And I actually got this when I saw them live in 2014. I saw them live with All Time Low, but I do know that the pressing of this one is super pretty. So Love that. Okay, so next we have Balance and Composure, the things we think we're missing. Again, this is like more of a reflection of myself maybe 8 years ago. But I do like Balance and Composure. I just don't listen to them as much as I used to. I like Tiny Raindrop the most on this album though, so that's fun. But I really love like the artwork on this album specifically. And also I feel like this is probably like one of the more high quality ones that I own. And we have State Champs, The Finer Things. I used to love this album so much. I still will listen to it from time to time, but not very often. My favorite on this album might be, I don't know, Elevated maybe, or Nothing's Wrong. I don't know, I really like this album, like a lot. And next we have The Story So Far, What You Don't See. I guess there's kind of a theme with these last few albums, but yeah, I think this is probably my favorite The Story So Far album, although, like, admittedly, I haven't listened to them much. I don't know, it's been a while. We can say that at the very least. But again, this is like one of the highest quality vinyl that I own. But I think on this album, my favorite song might be Right Here. As you can see, I had a kind of a pop punk phase. And then we have The Main. So this is their American Candy album. And I know this one has a super pretty pressing. I think it might be blue. I'm uncertain, but I think it's blue. But my favorite song on this album would probably have to be Am I Pretty? Yeah, probably Am I Pretty. I love The Main though. And then next we have Paris. So I used to really be into Paris when I was younger, and I still think this album is pretty good. This is White Noise. If I'm correct, the pressing of this one is black and white split, so that's really, really fun. My favorite song on this album might be Eyelids. And then next we have Chase Atlantic. So this one is their Phases album, which is their second album. And I think my favorite song would probably be Love Is Not Easy. And I also have this album, Beauty in Death, which is their most recent album. Yeah, I think the pressing on this one is pretty cool. On this album, Slide might be my favorite, but I also love Molly, but Slide is definitely my favorite. So then next we have James Arthur, Back from the Edge. So I would say, or at least used to be, a pretty big fan of James Arthur. And I bought this album because I do really like this album. I like this album and his first album the most. And also, kind of a sad thing, my local record store was closing down, so they were having a sale, and that is why I bought this, because it was on sale, and it was a bit cheaper than, I don't know, normal, obviously, because this was pretty expensive, I'm pretty sure. But my favorite song on this is probably I Am, but I also like Remember Who I Was and Finally a lot. I really love this album. Yeah, I would say I like Say You Won't Let Go a lot, even though I've heard it played to death on the radio, so yeah. Next we have Ed Sheeran. This is his Plus album. I'm just really not a fan of the direction he's taken his music ever since this album came out, I guess. But this album is like pure perfection, so I don't know. My favorite song on this would probably be Between You and I and Kiss Me or Give Me Love. Depending on the mood, it's one of those three. But next we have A Day to Remember, Homesick. I feel like this is just kind of one of those albums you have to have. But yeah, I think my favorite song on this album, it's hard to choose. I really like If It Means a Lot to You and Have Faith in Me, but I also really like track number 3 and Downfall of Us All, obviously. Next we have Echo Smith, Acoustic Dreams. So again, I used to be a really big fan of Echo Smith, and I think this was a record store day release, so I bought this. Yeah, this just has some fun acoustic songs on it. That's fun. I don't remember, I feel like this might be on a white vinyl, so that's, I don't know. I think I've said that it's my least favorite pressing color, but it is what it is. Next we have Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. Again, I feel like this is kind of a classic, something a lot of people own and have in their record collections. I love Amy Winehouse though. I love Love Is a Losing Game and also Some Unholy War a lot. And then next we have, so this is One Direction's Take Me Home. So this was a Urban Outfitters exclusive, you can see here. This is just a sticker. It's not actually on the vinyl, it's cut out from the plastic because I don't trust myself with stickers. But yeah, I'm super excited and still very happy that I have this, even though I got it like over a year ago. But my favorite song on this album is probably Come On Come On, I think. But I also really love Still the One and Back for You. This whole album is so good. I love it so much. I love One Direction. I'm not even gonna be embarrassed about that. I still do. I don't care. And then next we have 4, which again, another good album from One Direction. Yeah, on this album, I think my favorite would be No Control. I know that's my favorite. But again, this is like just a really good album. I think, I don't know, they have like a perfect discography. So yeah, that's my little small One Direction collection. But I do also have Harry Styles, his Fine Line album. This is the Target exclusive pressing. And yeah, so My favorite song on this is probably Golden, but I love this album a lot. And then next we have two vinyl that I'll talk about. So this is NCT 127 Superhuman, and this is Super M, their first EP. These are the two only K-pop related vinyl that I have. Probably the two that I will ever have, just because K-pop vinyl tend to be expensive, and these ones were kind of geared toward the US specifically, so they weren't too bad. I think they were like 20 bucks a piece. Yeah, that's why I have these. They're both of my NCT bias, which is fun. But yeah, I don't plan to add much K-pop vinyl to my collection, because as much as I love K-pop, those things are expensive, and it also is rare that an album I would like is pressed on vinyl. So yeah, I'm going to move on to the few 7-inches I have, and then this will finally be over. Okay, so I know the lighting sucks, but we're gonna power through. So I'll go through my Gavin Dance 7-inches first. The first one I have is People You Know and Perfect. So this is one of the reprints. It was the ColourPop edition, where obviously the outside is black and white, and then the vinyl itself is a color from the cover of the original album. So these kind of suck, and they pressed Gavin Dance's entire discography this way, and I'm glad I didn't really get any. But the two that I have were the only two Gavin Dance records I didn't have in my collection at the time, so I just went ahead and bought them. So yeah, I have this one. And I also have Summertime Gladness and Pussy Vultures. So this one, I'm just showing these on camera. This one is a bright yellow. I really like this color for a pressing, so that's really great. I really love like the neon colors, probably the most for like vinyl pressings, but yeah, that's that. The quality of these, like I already said, is really, really bad, but I'm glad I only have two. And then I have, this is their Headhunter single. So this one is a really bright orange. I love that so much. It's beautiful. But yeah, it just has Headhunter on it. Yeah, and I think there's only one side to it, so I don't believe there's anything on the other side. And then this is Blood Wolf. So this vinyl pressing is, yeah, kind of a blue with black, white, whatever. I don't really know what that's technically called. But yeah, I was able to like pre-order these two singles, and you can see that the artwork goes together, which is super fun. Love that. Anyways, next I have this One Direction Midnight Memories picture disc, which is an interesting thing to have, I guess. And I also have this Chioros single. So this has two songs on it, R2 Me Too and Let Me Get You a Towel. So this is a demo. That one's just a single. I think this was a, yeah, record store day release, so that's why I got this. I will just show you the color of this one. It's green. It's not showing up on camera as well, but I mean, you get the gist of it. Next I have this A Day to Remember Attack of the Killer B-Sides 7-inch. So this just has, yeah, two songs on each side. And then next I have this Bring Me the Horizon live picture disc. This is also a record store day release. I'm not sure from when, but it just has Drown and Throne on it. I think, yeah, live from wherever that is. So yeah. So the last that I own is Harry Styles Watermelon Sugar, and yeah, that's it. I didn't realize this actually had the instrumental on it, which is fun, but yeah, I just bought this just because. No fun pressing, but so yeah, that was it for my entire vinyl collection. I actually left out 3 because of reasons we're not going to talk about. But yeah, with that said, I really hope this video came out better than the first time I tried 2 years ago. Yeah, that was it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.